Hello, welcome to South Today. I'm Sally Taylor. The headlines tonight: busy accident and emergencies. But as COVID cases continue to rise, how will our hospitals cope with that on top of normal winter pressures?
There's definitely some anxieties going forward about the volumes, I think, that people were going to be seeing. Seasonal flu on top of COVID.
With the government announcing its latest restrictions in the fight against coronavirus, hospitals across the south are preparing themselves for what could be the harshest of all winter pressures. One of those, the Royal Bournemouth, has doubled the number of beds in accident and emergency since the beginning of the pandemic, and they're already busy. While numbers coming in with COVID-19 are still low, departments are bracing themselves for a rise in patients on top of the normal winter pressures. Our health correspondent, Alastair Fee, went to take the temperature of our own health service and joined an 8-hour shift in Bournemouth A&E.
Hello, emergency department, can I help you?
Ready, steady, roll.
I couldn't remember falling, but I did notice I'd hit my head.
We're a bit worried about him. A, he's got a cannula. B, he's had a head injury. And C, he's drunk.
If you need urgent care, these doors are always open.
I just turned around a bit sharpish, lost my balance and don't know when.
It sounds though he's got some pain in his neck from where he's fallen. He's bumped his head, so we'll certainly need to get some imaging of his neck done.
Neville is 87. He's seen immediately.
Doesn't feel as if anything's too bad, but there's a twinge in my neck when they were just checking me, so they brought me in to have a look.
Hello, emergency department, can I help you?
For the next 8 hours, senior sister Anne is in charge.
Over the last few years, we've seen increases in emergency care attendances anyway, and we're really feeling it now. We're feeling lots more people coming in sort of post-lockdown, so...
Busy already?
Busy already, absolutely.
Mike has come in by taxi.
Would you like some more pain relief?
Yes, please. Excruciating pain underneath my belly button.
This is what the department calls majors. It's where the patients with the most serious problems are seen.
Normally in the winter we would expect that beds are tight. A lot of those beds are taken up with people who are either too sick and need to be here or who are awaiting some kind of package in the community. We're already starting to hit that point already.
It's just a care home on the phone about that lady.
There is a steady flow of new arrivals, and it doesn't take long before they reach capacity. And that's not unusual.
Oh, actually, I think the coordinator's on the other line.
It's 4 hours now into this afternoon shift, and it's noticeably busier. 3 ambulances are en route, but there are no beds available here in accident and emergency. Anne needs to make calls to try and free up space elsewhere in the hospital. They're not quite queuing outside
No, not quite yet. No.
But unless beds can be freed up, that's what they will be doing.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, so that's why I've just come around to escalate it. I'd say that's a fairly frequent problem. That's definitely a day-to-day problem that we experience.
44 ambulances in, 96 in since midnight, so that's 50% still arriving by ambulance. That's high numbers.
Are you able to turn your neck a little bit towards me?
Elsewhere, after a scan, Neville has had good news.
As far as I can see, no damage done, basically. So it's just a question of stretching around a bit after lying here all day motionless.
Jess, could you scan these notes? That patient can go to the ward, going to AMU, yeah? Hello, sir. We have a bed for you on the ward, OK? Oh.
And those ambulances en route.
So they've arrived now, so now we have 2 ambulances waiting outside that we currently can't offload due to capacity issues. I'm literally moving a couple of people now, but it's just sort of one in, one out at the moment.
So will those patients be cared for in the back of the ambulance?
Until we have space.
Social distancing means patients can't now be brought into the corridors, but on this occasion it took less than 20 minutes for beds to become available.
I think we are still managing to provide the level of care that we want to provide at the moment, and that's that's what we would want and expect to do, and that's not going to change as the winter goes on. But the fact that we're beginning to see the problems with flow just starting to creep in is certainly a concern.
Over this 8-hour shift, the vast majority, like Maggie, were either admitted or discharged within the target of 4 hours.
Well, it all seems so highly organised. I don't think anybody has a need to panic unless there's a sudden rush, too many too soon. But it's very, very impressive.
Caring for others, like Mike, has taken longer. He was later discharged after nothing serious was found.
There's definitely some anxieties going forward about the volumes, I think, of people we're going to be seeing. Seasonal flu on top of COVID.
After a long day, Neville can go home. It's one of many successful outcomes. They have doubled the number of beds here in recent months, but as we saw, those can fill quickly. While plans are in place, the doctors and nurses in A&E are braced for the extra pressures this winter is likely to bring.
And Alastair's here with me now. I mean, it looked busy there, but just how busy was it for an A&E?
Well, of course, emergency departments are notorious, of course, for being busy. In the area that I was in, they saw 84 people over that 24-hour period. Now, if you compare that to a similar day this time last year, they saw 53 patients. Now, that doesn't include minor injuries. Let's take a look at ambulance arrivals as well. This time last year, 73 over that same day to 89. So things are clearly getting busier, Sally, and I think there's little wonder that there's concern about what the months ahead are going to bring.
Yeah, and on top of that, COVID, of course. I mean, what impact is coronavirus having on the hospital?
Well, numbers, Sally, are low, but they are rising. This time last week, they had 6 patients with COVID-19. They're now caring for twice that number, 13 patients across both Bournemouth and Poole hospitals. I think it's also important to say that during that shift in A&E when I was there, only one person who came in was diagnosed with the virus.
And you're going to return to the hospital?
Yes, because as the winter months get colder, the pressures, of course, will increase. There'll be things like flu, other viruses like norovirus, and, of course, with COVID-19 as well. So I'll be returning once a month to see how they're faring.
Alastair, thanks very much.